All right, I'll call a meeting of the Main Street Board of Directors, April 10th meeting to order. And roll call has been completed, right, Devin? We have a quorum. In front of you, you have an agenda. Is there any additions that would be like to be added to the agenda? If none, I'll entertain a motion to accept the agenda as presented.
Support.
There's a motion and support. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. We have an agenda. Our minutes from our March 13th, 2024 meeting were in your packets. Is there any additions, corrections, deletions that need to be made? If not, I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
So moved.
Motion is, and there's support. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. Minutes in the record with unanimous vote. Finance report, Jay.
All right.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
Thank you. So Jay and I did review the finances for the month. In the packet, you'll see the normal reports. There's the balance sheet, the revenue and expenditures report. And there is a copy of the 24-25 budget, as well as a recommendation for board action on that. Looking at the current financials, really continuous with what we've seen in the past couple months. Spending is looking good. We really haven't overspent, so no concerns there. As for the budget, Jay can provide more commentary if I miss something, but the budget is proposed in the packet. There are increased expenditures across the board, but nothing dramatic, as well as increased revenues, largely, excuse me, largely coming from our increased goals for private donations and event sponsorships. No changes in contribution from the city of Adrian. That still remains at the $35,000 investment. When you look at the expenses, you'll actually note that administrative costs are actually down slightly, so that's nice. And then we did budget higher for events. So all in all, it looks good. If you've had a chance to review, any questions?
Any questions on the budget?
Any additional comments, Jay?
Finance reports?
No, that's good.
All right, so the first course action would be to entertain a motion for the financial reports to be entered into the record. So I'd entertain a motion for that. Motion, is there support? All right, any further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, the same.
We'll do the budget further down.
Further down the agenda. All right. All right, Main Street Director reports.
All right, short and sweet today. Event coordinator, we have 2 people that will be coming for second interviews tomorrow. So we hope to have a decision made right after that meeting, and we'll let them know accordingly. The interview committee will be interviewing them for the second interviews, and we'll make that decision. Farmers market progress. Farmers market is going crazy right now. I think I've got 22 applications total, and that doesn't include some of our Amish friends that are coming. I believe last count there was going to be 6 produce vendors at the market. Also, we will be offering double up food bucks this year. So I just had a call yesterday with the program director, and that'll work in conjunction with SNAP benefits. So if someone receives SNAP benefits, they can buy fresh produce or vegetables and double those dollars up to $20 every time they come in to the market. So really expanding their buying power and purchasing power, and helping our farmers as well at the same time.
Jay, can we get some kind of a flyer or something about announcing that, so like we can pass that out at like certain nonprofits and different areas that they may not know, or they're not paying attention to social media or whatever it might be, just so we can get that word out on that?
Yeah, I'm getting all the advertising and point of purchase materials are coming from the Fair Food Network, who runs the Double Up Food Bucks. So they'll give us all that advertising documentation, and we'll be able to pass that out and share it, as well as our announcements through the normal marketing channels we use.
Yeah, it's a lot different than ever before. This is going to be much larger than we've had in the past. So exciting time on that.
And then next month, I will not be here for this meeting. I'll be at the National Main Street Conference in Birmingham, Alabama. There is a ton of stuff going on. I think there's over 90 different sessions available to us over the 3 days, so I won't even get a fraction of those. But we do have access to all the materials and things that happen there, focusing a lot on entrepreneurial ecosystems, on housing, a lot of discussions there. So very excited about that, and I'll have a full report when I get back. And the last thing I want to say is this is the last meeting we'll have Ashley at. She will be leaving us April 22nd and graduating a couple weeks after that. I've tried to convince her to stay, and it hasn't worked out. So, but thank you for all you've
Let's
done.
hear it.
You've really given us a big boost in social media, and we really appreciate it. I don't have it on it, but I can talk about it real quick. And I do have applications for the board, open board seat, and we'll be reviewing those over the next week and getting interviews set up so we can fill that last remaining board position we have open.
How many did you get?
I think there's 5 or 6.
Yeah, remember you used to have to talk people into coming on board.
Yeah.
All right, any questions for Jay? All right, Jay, thank you for your report. Greg?
Morning.
Morning.
Couple things probably of interest to the board that I would like to report. In our own, I know you're gonna make your recommendation on your budget today. In our own budget, which the city commission is going to consider next Monday night, that's our operating budget for the upcoming fiscal year. We do have an expanded role in economic development that I'm proposing. Hopefully the commission will support me on that, and you are partnering with us because that person is Jay. With your onboarding of the market and events coordinator, we then hope to move Jay off into some other economic development work for the city, which honestly he's really been doing already without the extra compensation, so thank you. But with the new fiscal year, we plan to roll that out officially. So we're excited about that because we really think it will bring more back to the city than it costs us. We have already had good success, or what we think will lead to good success in some grant applications up to this point. We are also partnering with a company called Grant Exec, which was recommended to us through our lobbying firm that we partner on with Let Away Now, who will do both grant prospecting for us, so give us lists of opportunities every month, but actually every week, but then are also available on an hourly basis to assist in grant writing. So we'll have additional expertise in grant writing available to us through that partnership. So exciting things going on in the economic development world. The other thing that may be of interest to you is that we have gotten our bids back for the demolition of 116, 118, 120 South Main, the creation of the downtown town square space that we've been planning. Have a meeting with Smith Group, I believe later today, to move forward on more precise planning for the improvement of that space. Those should be down by midsummer. The grants came back, or the bids rather, came back rather favorably from my perspective, just south of $400,000 all in for that work. Also going to ask the city commission to award that bid to the low bidders on Monday night, and I think they'll be ready to go in May. That's being paid for out of our enhancement grant that we got for the downtown, which was really an earmark, not a written grant as such, but that will really activate that space along Main Lane, tying it into the Gene Christopher property and create some interesting space there for both outdoor activities and we hope pop-up retail along there as well. So happy to answer any questions about either of those things or anything else you might have.
Questions? No questions? Crickets. All right, so, and they'll most likely be, when we get to the budget discussion, if the city commission adopts, we're gonna have to amend. Because it'll change the way the cash flows work. It'll be a net positive for us, so it won't be,
It's already, if, we won't have to change it if it's in there.
Is
It's,
it?
it's already in there, so we won't
Oh,
have to
you
change
did-
the
you
budget.
did, okay,
Yep.
great, great. I didn't look at specifics.
Yep.
All right. Greg, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right. Board action.
It's the recommendation of the Downtown Adrian Main Street Board that the City of Adrian Commission approve the proposed budget for the 24-25 fiscal budget year.
So technically, we're recommending this to the commission, and the commission actually adopts it on our behalf. Any questions on the budget? If not, I'll entertain a motion to accept the budget as presented.
So moved.
There's a motion. Is there support? There's support. Any further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Hi.
All opposed, the same. All right, we have our budget recommendation for the commission. Next recommendation.
It's the recommendation of the Sign Review Committee that the Downtown Adrian Main Street DDA Board recommend the approval of the sign application for the Catherine Cobb Safe House Administration Building at 220 North Main Street, Suite B. And the photos of the signs and location of those signs were in your packet.
Do we have? It's reviewed already?
Yeah, the sign committee has reviewed
Reviewed it.
this and given their blessing.
All right. Can I get a motion to accept the sign for 220 North Main, Suite B? There's motion and support. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Hi.
All those opposed, the same. All right, next.
It's the recommendation of the Downtown Adrian Main Street. It's a recommendation that the Downtown Adrian Main Street DDA Board approve the application to the Farmers Market Promotion Program and allow the executive director to execute the application and all corresponding documents. This is a USDA program for farmers market to help us market and promote the farmers market. They have a new program this year. It's a turnkey marketing and promotion program. They give you 5 items to select from, and it gives you up to $100,000 over 2 years with a 25% match. We're already spending that 25% match, and all of those dollars would qualify. So really, it just gives us a nice little bonus in the program.
So can I get a motion to authorize Jay to apply for this Farmers Market Promotion Program grant?
So moved.
There's support.
Support.
Been a motion and support. Any further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. Thank you, Jay. We'll move along to the Promotions Committee. Are you reporting or is it Darcy?
Darcy is.
Hey, Darcy.
Yeah, I'm reporting on behalf of Meredith today. We've been busy and having a lot of fun on the promotions committee. So there's 3 main things that we wanted to report out today. The first one is we've been talking about better ways to support the work of the First Fridays committee. And I don't want to steal any of their thunder if there's a First Fridays report later, but look for a more prominent and very fun social push to promote May's First Friday, which is the Dog Days. So again, this will be something we're continually looking at as ways that we can help spread the word better than we've been doing and get the word out about that. The second thing we've been working on is we've been having a lot of discussions about how to drive more retail traffic to downtown and how to create some energy and buzz and get people downtown and get people into stores. So one of the things that we're doing this year, and you'll be hearing a lot more about it very soon, is trying to leverage 517. So leverage our area code. So on Friday, May 17th, we'll be having 517 day. So that's why you've got these stickers here. So we are trying to create a lot of energy and excitement around 517. So we'll be, we've got some communication that's ready to go out to businesses, and we'll be working with all the downtown business owners about how they can leverage the day, things that they can do to play into the theme. And then we will be doing a lot to try and push people into your stores that day. And one of the ideas we have is a social media contest where we will want them to go into stores and take selfies in businesses and then post those to to our social accounts. And then we'll have a little contest, see how many people get the most likes. And we have gift baskets made up of gifts from our downtown businesses, and we will give those out. So we are hoping to get a lot of people not just coming downtown, but coming into your stores, looking at everything that you have to offer. And then we're also working on having some entertainment later in the day, like from 5 to 8. We're still working on some of the details of that. So did I forget any details on that? Okay. So look for much more soon. This will be another big marketing and social media push. And then the third thing is we've been thinking about how to plan a welcome back event that appeals to a wide range of, our Adrian College and Siena Heights University students. So we had a really productive meeting with student life leaders from both universities. And so, yeah, we're on our way with that. They give us really good feedback. So we feel like we're ahead of the game, working on that and thinking about that and planning that. So those are the big three things we wanted to report out. Does anyone have questions?
Questions for Darcy? Excellent report. Thank you, Darcy.
Thanks.
First Fridays.
I'll take First Fridays. So April, foot traffic downtown was fair on First Friday. It wasn't stellar, but it was fair. It's always a challenge in those winter months to find things that we can engage people with. And so we're going to try to focus on that in coming year. May, very exciting. Dog days, walk and wag at First Fridays. Two big things that'll be taking place. One I'm very fond of because I think it's hilarious. We're going to be doing the dock diving dogs, the air dogs. So they will be right out here, running off a dock, jumping into a pool, very competitive dogs. And we're also allowing anybody that wants to have their dog do it. There's a process and a small fee for them to do that, with half of those proceeds going back to the Humane Society. And then the other thing, on the Gene Christopher lot, we will have the dog agility course. So I believe the 4-H group is handling that. They commonly have the agility course at the fair, and so they'll be bringing that to it, as well as several other events going on. I think we've got 15 vendors already signed up to participate. In our little market, most of them about half of them dog themed or pet themed, so that'll be good as well. And then we're just working on the marketing and the support from the promotion committee to help with that, and then focusing on the rest of the summer. Yeah, that's all I have.
There looks to be a distinct change in having the car shows as big as they were, and we're limited it down to 3 and maybe less than that. So I ask everybody to come up with great ideas. So we're still working on it as First Friday committee, because we want to really come in strong. We have to build the streets with activities and ideas, and I think the First Friday committee has done a great job as they keep meeting and coming up with great ideas. So thank you, Jay.
And I'll go right to Town and Gown. Town and Gown meets tomorrow, so we'll have an update next month for that.
Excellent. All right, organization. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Sure.
So obviously, we've been talking about the National Intern Day this summer in July, but there's also been a few other major things happening Town and Gown related. Last week, we had a great Spring Career Expo grad school fair on campus at Siena Heights on Thursday. Brought a lot of local talent, and Siena Heights also announced a Brain Game Promise, which is going to bring more hopefully and keep people from Michigan to stay in Michigan, bringing them to Siena Heights. That started just Lenawee County, but that's going to be bigger. 42nd Street this weekend for Theater Siena. And I just wanted to also take a moment to thank those of you that did come to the inauguration last month. Really great event that we had that kicked off that inauguration event on Knowledge Towns. I think that would be a great book read for this group, the DDA, because there were some great things that really link into what DDA Main Street is all about. And I think even a discussion about that, some of those talking points from that keynote speech would be really helpful for us to focus in on. Thank you.
So Michael, I'll email the board, the book that you just talked about with Dr. Staley.
Yes.
And so I'll send it to you and you guys can take a look at it. It really is quite a vision, a cutting edge vision of a city like ours adopting the theme of a knowledge town and joining in not only for the universities, but the entire idea of being a knowledge town, and that attracts people to be near us. So, and near that
Absolutely.
type of thing. So great stuff. So I'll send that out to you if you feel like you need to take a look at it. It's a pretty good read. Any other questions on that? All right, the organization committee continues to meet with our donors and we continue to work it. So getting very good success so far, and we continue to just put it into our schedule. Jacob's done a great job of keeping us organized. Thank you. Economic vitality.
Economic vitality. So obviously today's walk and talk will be a part of the committee's function. Also, we have started the ready to recruit process with can't think of the organization. But it's the technical service provided from Michigan Main Street, really lining us up to prepare to recruit those businesses into our downtown, making sure that we've got all the basic needs in place, making sure that we're giving everything a business would need when they come to our community and want to open. And I can tell you from firsthand experience that those things are very much needed. So excited about that. We've got a follow up just the first part of next week to check in on some of the things we've been working on.
Excellent. Questions? All right, design committee.
You want to talk about?
Yep, so, just in an effort to add a little bit of color to the downtown, at the suggestion of Tinkin Frog, Jay helped me purchase 4-inch yarn dolls that we're gonna hang from just the trees of the 4 corners. Anybody would like to help with that, I can start on Saturday at 10:30.
Saturday, 10:30.
They're just to get us through till the flower pots arrive, just some color for the,
Early spring.
early first spring.
Excellent. Awesome. Any update on the mural?
So I'm just waiting on confirmation from the attorney that is representing the individual that owns the wall. We've got pricing in line and I don't want to release the call for the artist until I have that confirmation from the attorney. So as soon as I get that, and I should have that by the end of this week. But we're moving, I mean, we built in some buffer time in the schedule, so we should be fine.
What's the size of it again?
50 feet wide, 20 feet tall.
All right. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
All right, any questions for Jerry or Jay on that? Moving right along. Tim.
Strangers not being blinded.
We are blinded.
We're in the eclipse. Tim Robinson, Lenawee Now. 2 things, the center, the training center, the Alliance Center for Workforce Development on the east side at 430 East Church. I told you last month we have closed on the purchase. We've actually started demolition and renovation now. Estimates 52 weeks. We're putting in an elevator. Yeah, that's what I said. We're putting in an elevator, which means we need to bring in bigger power, and apparently some of the components needed for that have a lead time. Not to mention they're doing a lot of work in that building. But 52 weeks, we've got programs going now that are, the programs will be running in the building. So we still got activities going, just waiting to get the building buttoned up. Second, our Lean Rocket Lab Fellows program that we've partnered with the Lean Rocket Lab in Jackson. We're doing their Fellows program here in Lenawee. The applications are available on our website for small businesses. It's a coaching, mentoring, training program to help them get from where they are to the next step. It's for existing businesses. I think I talked about this last month. Doesn't have to be terribly old business. As long as you've got some revenues, you've had some sales. They're trying to help you get to the next step. Applications are from now until the end of June. Then we'll pick the top 10 applicants. The actual training program will start in August. We'll go August, September, October. Then we'll have a graduation. But the program runs year round with the coaching and the mentoring and the et cetera. Other than that, happy to answer any questions.
Will there be actual staff from from Lean Rock, did you call it Lean Rocket?
It's the Lean Rocket Lab out of Jackson.
Yeah, will they be
Yeah, you're
actually-
looking at the staff.
That's it? You're the trainer?
Well, no, we're bringing in trainers, yes.
There are trainers
We're
coming.
making sure that
Excellent.
everything runs on time, but yeah, we're bringing in trainers. My guess is, well, basically this is Launch Lenawee Part 2, if you
Part
will.
two. Got it.
So we're bringing in those kinds of trainers. My guess is most of the training will be financial and marketing.
Excellent. Questions for Tim? Thank you, Tim.
Mhm.
All right, before we bring in McKenna, is there any other DDA matters to bring before this board today? All right, Jake.
I'd like to introduce Jane Dixon from McKenna. She'll be here telling us about the next steps. Oh, and Laura, sorry.
Good morning. Thank
Morning.
you for having us, and we're really excited to partner with you on the development plan for Adrian downtown. So we just want to introduce the project and get some orienting thoughts from you all as we continue to work on this through the next 8 or so months. So if you don't mind, go to the next slide. So we'll introduce ourselves and hopefully get introductions from you, go over project objectives, and then look a little bit more in detail at the scope and schedule and how the public will play a role in that. And then share some research and initial findings that we've done, and then a goals and objectives exercise, which should be in your packet if you've had a chance to look at that. And then we'll discuss the walking tour, which we'll do after this meeting. So my name is Jane Dixon. I am a senior planner with McKenna. I'm the project manager, and we have some others as well on our team who are not here today, but you will see throughout this process or are working behind the scenes to make the document a very full, thought out document. So Gage Belko is an associate planner. He's going to be supporting the drafting and the analysis and some of the events that we have with you. And then Lauren Sayer is a mapping specialist, and she's also doing some of the analysis. And then Donovan Smith is a planner, and he will also be helping with the recommendations. Carrie Leitner is our art director, so we'll make sure that the document is presentable and can be something that you use 30 years in the future for your marketing efforts. I'm going to let Laura introduce herself.
Good morning, board members. Laura Hobb, Vice President with McKenna, and it's exciting to kick off this project with you.
All right, I'm gonna start with Michael over here. Introduce yourself and we'll work our way around.
And if in your introduction, you want to share quickly what your favorite part of the downtown is, we'd appreciate that. But if you don't have anything in mind, that's okay as well.
Oh,
Sure, it won't be hard.
You're putting me on the spot, especially since I get to go first. I'm Michael Orlando, Vice President for Student Affairs and Student Success at Siena Heights University, one of our colleges to make this a college town, and happy to be part of this board. And my favorite part of downtown is probably the Croswell. Jerry? That's what I did there. I'm sorry, everybody else. I love you all too. I mean, there's so many things. Go ahead,
I'm
Jerry.
gonna do G-Dress.
There you go.
I'm Jerry Ryder. I'm the artistic director at the Croswell Opera House, and sorry, it is my favorite place.
That's fair.
But I also love Siena.
I'm Karen Lindquist. I own 120 East Money, and it has Idras, and it has a yoga studio, a spiritual business, and then I'm also a pharmacist. Do all that stuff. Favorite part would be
Everybody, make sure you turn your mics on when you speak too, please.
My name is Darcy Gifford. I'm an at-large member of the board and on the promotions committee, and have lived in Adrian 30+ years and worked at Adrian College for years. And now I'm Assistant Vice President for Marketing and Communications at Eastern Michigan University. My favorite part of downtown is how you can have so many different, it's so walkable, and you can have so many different experiences in the same day, right? So it's just the kind of breadth and scope of what we offer down here.
My name is Jacob Cooper, at large board member for DDA. Don't work in Adrian, but I do live in Adrian. I was a downtown resident for 5 years and got pretty used to the downtown life before moving to the west side of town. But my favorite part of downtown is really just the transformation that we've seen in the last 10 years. and the ability to continue this, push that forward.
I'm Angie Heath, Mayor of the City of Adrian, and I'm also Director of a nonprofit preschool for educating low-income children. But my favorite part of downtown is definitely the historical integrity, while also incorporating modern elements.
Jay Marcus, the Executive Director for Downtown Adrian Main Street. I'm also a business owner and a school board member. So my web is pretty broad when it comes to things that involve the downtown. I think the thing that I like most is really seeing the investment that's happening right now. We're probably going to see well over $50 million in the next 3 to 5 years come into our downtown, and that's transformational for any downtown, but especially one of our size.
I'm Dusty Steele. I'm a financial planner in downtown Adrian, own a building just down the street. And been a proponent of the downtown since I can remember. My favorite part of the downtown right now is this board. That's what my favorite part is.
Jeff Rising, I'm a real estate broker, Remax Main Street Realty here in downtown Adrian. I guess being in real estate, my favorite part of downtown is the architecture and old buildings and just the history of downtown. You know, every time I see a picture that the Historical Society puts up of like the horses and buggies in the street, it's like, that's my building. And I'm just trying to imagine what happened in these places 100 years ago. You know, it just really, that's my favorite part is the history and architecture.
My name's Christina Henning. I actually live downtown, so I love getting to walk everywhere to do anything that I really want to do. And the sense of community here, just being able to know everyone and familiar faces. I also really love the Croswell. So. Oh, and farmers.
I'm Candace Carl Newsom. I am the Jackson College Lenawee liaison and a business owner downtown. And the thing that I really love is the history and the resiliency of Adrian. I think that what we have, we just keep having that fighting spirit and keep grasping for the golden days again and to know that they're coming back.
My name's Josh Roth. I own Musgrove and Company and new business Maumee Street Tap Room and Kitchen. My favorite part of Adrian downtown right now is the opportunity and potential.
And I'm Devaney Rosebrock. I'm part owner of the Buzz Cafe and Marketplace in downtown. And my favorite part of the downtown area is the sense of community and the way that the residents and the business owners team together to bring events to life in the downtown area, especially our First Fridays.
Excellent.
Thank you all.
All right, so moving on to the project objectives. This is going to be a fresh new update to the current 1990 development and TIF plan, tax increment financing plan. And this is really two plans in one. So you have the development plan and then you have the TIF plan. And I know you're familiar with this, so we'll just kind of briefly run through what these scope elements are. So the development plan is really going to identify what are the projects that are needed over the next 30 years. And since you are a Main Street community, it might help to kind of think about these projects and organize them based on the different committees that you have. So putting things into the promotional or the economic vitality or the design and kind of identifying early on which of those committees can spearhead the different projects. Where the projects will be located, cost estimates for them, when they will occur. So we'll think about things in the short term. The next 5 years, what can you accomplish by 2030? Then the next 10 years after that, what can be accomplished by 2040? And then 2055, kind of the longer 15 years after that. How will the projects be paid for? So the TIF is one source of revenue, but of course there are others, so we'll explore that as part of this. And then what partners are needed to accomplish these projects and see them to fruition. Also in the development plan, this is where we really need the bulk of your input. So we're gonna, this plan will include the goals and objectives, which is one element that we're going to go over today. But it's going to have the boundaries and the existing land uses mapped of the development area. It's going to have a description of all those projects and improvements and cost estimates. And then the TIF plan is more straightforward, especially since this isn't a new TIF that you're establishing. So this is going to closely follow Public Act 57 of 2018. And that's really spelled out in what it needs to contain. So you're going to have the method of financing, that projections for the tax increment capture, the millages, the duration of the program, which again is going to be 30 years, and then if there's any bonding. And so for us, success is compliance, right, with the state requirements, so that you're set up for the next 30 years to continue and see that reinvestment and growth. We want the plan to define an aspirational roadmap for you to follow and make sure that it's aspirational, but also realistic and attainable, so that you can see those projects come to fruition. Are there other thoughts that you might have on what would define success? So when this project is completed in the next 8 months, you say, yes, this was a successful project in my mind.
Yes. So just actionable steps.
Okay.
Just being involved with the city and being a former city commissioner and being in a lot of strategic planning meetings. You know, we all oftentimes see these plans get put on a shelf, collecting dust. So something that's actionable.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, that's very important. And Jane mentioned, you know, our art director, Carrie Leitner, she will be working with us and this board through the process to make sure that this is a easily digestible document, that it's, you know, user-friendly, readable, that you can use it for marketing, that the public can understand, business owners can get on board. So it won't just sit on the shelf, that you can actually use it.
Our previous TIF plan was this thick.
It doesn't need to be that big.
Just to give you an overview of what the project schedule looks like and what to expect. So we're kicking off with you today. And then we will meet again in May to have a working meeting. And then we do need to establish a DACC, which is the Development Area Citizens Council. And this may need to be adjusted as we kind of define who those members are, because that's part of the process as well. But we're shooting for a May meeting with them to kick off and meet that requirement. We are planning to have some roundtable discussions and then have a strategic workshop with you all in June at your June meeting. We'll check back in after we've drafted in August. And then we'll also conclude with a DACC meeting in August. And then that will get us ready to take back any comments from you all and have a final draft for presentation to the City Commission in October, with adoption following that. So just to dive in a little bit more into that scope and go over kind of how we're going to engage the public in this process. As I mentioned, the Development Area Citizens Council is a statutory requirement because of the amount of residents you have in your downtown. So anyone who was here when you did your last update, you might be familiar with this. And so this is to get the input of the residents as well as meeting that statutory requirement. The audience is going to be a group of people who reside in the district, who apply to be on that board. We will send out a press release and letters and solicit membership, as well as reaching out to those who may have served during the amendment process. So we're going to hopefully talk with them about how we can attract additional residents. We can touch on this later, but I know you have residential vacancies, and then just making sure that we're aligning the goals and priorities of this board with the residents as well. So we're also going to do a projects public survey. This will be administered primarily online. We will have paper copies available for those who may not be able to access this online. And we will advertise this through your social media and flyers. The idea is to get a broad base of input from the public, the people who come and visit Adrian, so that we know what they want. We know that you all hear on a regular basis from your visitors, and but we want to really be able to kind of validate that and make sure that our goals and aspirations reflect that as well, and ask about any specific ideas of improvement, because everyone's experience of the downtown is a little bit different. And then if there's any hot button issues that come up in that process as well, we'll be able to garner that. So we are planning to do this at the end of May through June. And again, we'll partner with you to make sure we get the word out about this. So the strategic planning workshop will be kind of our meat and potatoes, really focusing in on some of the technical issues. And we will have that at this board meeting. Obviously, this board meeting is open to the public, but we will encourage the members of the public to attend if they are able. And the idea is really to get an idea of what this project list is going to be. We want to make that into a reality at this event. And then hopefully we'll be able to take some of that preliminary feedback from the public survey as well and feed that into this formulation of the project list. If you want to go to the next slide. So a preliminary workshop agenda, just to give you an idea of what to expect. It might be a little less formal than this meeting. We might break out into some groups, think about what the DDA has accomplished, do a SWOT exercise. We will work to refine these goals from this exercise, and then think about the project list and the wish list that comes from this group. So the roundtable discussions, as I mentioned as well, these will be held virtually. This is to engage with certain people who may be tangential to this board, Chamber of Commerce members, other members in the community. We're working with the city staff, and if you have any suggestions, please pass those along to Jay or myself. And so this will be in June, and we will kind of have topic-based conversations with these individuals and just get another point of perspective to make sure that we're really garnering as much input as possible and getting a well-rounded foundation for this plan. So I'm going to go over some initial findings just from our research. And I know that you had a market study done in the fall, and I don't want to spend like too much time revisiting all of that. It was a great study. I've reviewed it thoroughly. I know some of their general demographic numbers I've updated a little bit, and then just pulled some of the key points out as well. So the population, I'm sure you all know this, but that has declined slightly in the last 10 years. I think we're going to see that kind of plateau, at least from what the trend looks like. And then the median age has increased, which is, what the nation across the nation we're seeing is, we're aging population. And so that also aligns with kind of your main visitors and what you saw in the market profile. The median household income, it continues to stay very steady. It's also aligns with that market profile. People do have some spending capacity. And then the average household size is reducing a little bit. That's typical with the aging population. So just thinking about what your general outlook looks like in terms of potential visitors. Looking at employment, I know that, again, you've kind of already seen this, but with 37 businesses, you employ a impressive 245 employees. So this can become an employee-centered area, and the retail trade and the services make up the majority of your downtown, which you all know, which is typical of downtowns of this size. So we will need to think about the diversity of the businesses and the types of businesses you want to attract. And this is a good foundational start to understand that. So I know this is directly from the market profile, but just kind of the profile of the main visitor groups that you have. Again, older, potentially retired individuals who have lived here for quite some time, enjoy kind of home-based hobbies and the traditional lifestyle that Adrian might have to offer. But you have a very eclectic and good mix of people who come to downtown. You have kind of the starter family or people who are just starting their profession, and probably are maybe associated with the university or the colleges. And then also the maybe empty nesters near retirement or retiring older individuals again, and have a taste for a little bit of going out more so maybe than the first group, but it's a nice mix, and I think we can work to play on these strengths. And then lastly, just some other, I think, kind of initial, very obvious understanding of downtown, that Fridays and Saturday nights are your, highest points. And then most people are coming from Adrian or to come see Blissfield. And it's really a local community downtown. It's, as you know, and we'll talk about whether we want to try and grow a little bit more for a regional destination or what that looks like. And then looking at that, what might bring people and create a little bit more of a economic mix. Potential for a hardware store was very strong, shoe stores, and then auto repairs were kind of your main points. So I don't know if anyone has had a chance to look at your packet and the goals of exercise, but we did want to kind of go over some of the goals and objectives from the re-envision Adrian Downtown 2019 plan, the strategic plan. And rather than start from the beginning, we thought this was a great starting place, and we can go from here to realize what might still be relevant or what might need to change. So we kind of are going to start by just asking what your relevancy, what if this goal is still relevant, if it needs to be revised, thinking about how they should be prioritized, and then looking at the objectives, which we hope to make a little bit more measurable. I think a lot of these objectives are very valuable, but they're maybe a little more broad-based. And so talking about how if the objectives have been accomplished or what might need to change there. And then if there's any additional goals or objectives that you think are relevant to add to this as well. So again, this is kind of an orienting conversation. If you have a chance and want to jot down your notes in your packet and give those to us at the end, that would be wonderful. Otherwise, we'll just kind of go through this with the presentation as well. So goal 1, institute a high level of placemaking in downtown Adrian. And then we have 6 objectives in your packet, where some of the sub action items as well listed out. So from this group, is there any feeling that this goal should be changed, or is this, anything that might need to be adjusted to the goal or the objectives at this point?
What does number 6 mean?
Oh, and I'm sorry, I should mention these were copied directly from the 2019 plan. So I believe this was a engagement process that they were suggesting to redesign the waterfront area along the river. A charrette is a workshop where you have the public come in and go through feedback and adjust the designs for a riverfront development. I know that you have some riverfront development plans kind of already in place or in the process. So maybe this is something that we can take off of the list. Maybe this is a low-hanging item to comment on.
Can you talk about murals or sculptures or anything that encourages placemaking?
Yeah.
I also think kind of a partner with that, a cohesive signage,
Yes.
which, signage plan.
Most improved facade competition is not probably a goal. We'd just like to get our facade program back in place.
And the facades are recognized. Beautification in general in Adrian is recognized by the chamber or somebody.
Yes.
And honestly, I'd really like to make sure that we all participate in really fine tuning these. When we did this with the Michigan extension, or Michigan State extension, it started off with a pretty good group of people, and then it got down to a small group of people, and it got down to very few at the end. And so I think
They just started.
No.
okay. So I just think if we could, we might not be able to accomplish it today, but I think we should fine tune these and really make them actionable.
And I think that's a great point. If it's something you haven't had a chance to look at, if you want to take it home and email your thoughts or bring them back to your next meeting. I'll be here next meeting, and we can collect those at that point. So just because even if you haven't had the chance to really digest it, I know there's a lot, feel free to do that and then come back with it.
I think the farmer's market infrastructure, it's something we've worked on and we've done some too, but there's a much greater opportunity there. So I think that's very important.
Is the MSU Sustainable Built Environment Initiative and First Impressions Tours, are those still relevant programs that exist or that we want to be a part of? Or is there a reason we haven't joined them since 2019?
I believe they still do exist. I think when COVID hit, it kind of put it to the back burner, and I don't know how much they were doing during that time as well. We can certainly investigate that, but I'm not familiar with how operational they are at this time.
Okay.
I think another thing to consider on the placemaking is just as an objective is just to continue, but also maybe even continue enhancing our social media push. It's really improved in the last 6 months exponentially, but we need to continue that.
Other comments?
All right. So goal number 2 is partner on city practices and procedures, leading by example. And some of the sub items there were maintenance and beautification, address crime issues, positive messages, embrace change, share the vision. And then second objective was aid the city in making it easy to do business. And then that was easy to open a business, easy to get a permit, and responding quickly. So I'd love to hear what, it sounds like you have a strong partnership and that's probably grown since 2019. And so kind of where we are now and how this plan can reflect that.
I think our partnership's strong. I think we need to stay right on that point. That we need to be customer service oriented and welcoming and making the process easy for a business owner to step in and find their way through City Hall.
Almost a concierge, really,
Yeah.
looking, may not have the answer, but know where to take them to get the answer.
Would you say this goal number 2 rises above the placemaking goal?
No, it's very important and it's definitely critical to help us do the placemaking, but I would keep it one notch below placemaking.
Gotta have a clean house before you invite visitors.
Anything else on this?
I'd like to see something in there that is about actual recruitment, so that we work with the city in recruiting the types of businesses we want. And that can be successful.
Another new thing we're going through Main Street. We'll hit on it.
So goal number 3 was to continue efforts to preserve the DDA district as a place for pedestrians, vehicles, and transit. And the objectives kind of support that with continuing to improve the built form, supporting the creation of new nodes of activity within or near the district, and continually increase the number of points of interest. I know that there's some bike infrastructure that's been installed and is currently underway, as well as some activity centers, the farmers market, the Maiden Lane project. But I would like to hear, if there's anything else that can be expanded on, if these are where these fall in your hierarchy of importance as well.
As a business owner, parking is part of that, and that would be a huge point for me.
Needing
More parking, better laid out parking. I know we're working on it, but like making sure that that comes to fruition.
And before we really delve into this one, this is my opinion, but I feel that goal 4 should be goal 3 and goal 3 should turn to goal 4. Cause I think growing and attracting businesses is a higher priority right now for downtown, but that's just my opinion and nobody else may agree, but I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, so specific to goal 3, I'm not sure that this is necessarily something that we need to put in the objective or something that we need to be conscious about as a board. But I think there's a misconception in the community that DDA is the 4 blocks of downtown, when really our DDA district is substantially broader. And we need to make sure that our efforts are beyond just the 4 blocks of downtown, and the community understands how big of an area we actually do have.
Matter of fact, Jake, we went back forth with Main Street to make sure that most of the time on Main Street, they do just take the 4 blocks and they want you to concentrate on it. We set our DDA as our Main Street, so we took that commitment to them.
Perfect.
Do you think there's interest in like a gateway, something that kind of defines downtown as this broader area a little bit more? Is that something that's worth thinking about?
I think it's always worth discussing as
Okay.
an option. And I would agree with Angie on swapping goal 3 and goal 4 in the priority list.
It almost feels to me like the city themselves are taking on goal 3 with the work that's being done on Winter Street. I mean, I know we've had a tiny bit of input, but they're like moving forward on those things. And we could help focus on what's in number 4 as opposed to where they're going. 3.
Yeah, almost number 3 is our partnership with them. So we lead by finding opportunities, and then and the city's always looking for them as well. But what happens is we come together and then we prioritize, and then the city has been great at executing.
And there's also, we're also going through zoning ordinance rewrite and planning and doing all of that. So we're trying to make the environment more appealing along the way. So
Would have said the opposite. It's like if you build it, then they come.
That's
Like
right.
goal 3 first and then goal 4. But if we're more focused on 4 as a board, then it makes sense to.
Yeah, I'm wondering, build it and you will come. I'm wondering like goal 3, if it even considers, because of our bike lanes, like some cities have scooter programs that could get from college campus to downtown to help them come for many students that don't have cars, or thinking about, do we have enough bike racks? We've done parking studies, but what could encourage more of that activity to
Well, they're
come for a
redoing
place?
the entire Winter Street. too.
True. Right. Those are big things.
Yeah, yeah.
And goal 6 and goal 3 have some redundancy, I think. And we did do septet way back when. I didn't even know what it was until they taught us about it. It was very interesting, but we probably should refresh everybody on that too.
So we kind of got in a little bit to goal 4 there. This is obviously really relevant to all of you. The objectives, looking at the objectives and how we grow and attract businesses. I know that the previous plan kind of addressed pop-up retail, which again, you've looked at doing with that Maiden Lane project, and then mentoring new businesses, and then assisting accelerate and attract businesses. And so from all of your perspectives, what are these relevant? Are there more things? What comes to mind?
Retain businesses. And so that means we have to act in such a way that they feel that we find them very important to us.
I think the definition of business is important because I personally don't feel we need a lot more services in this downtown district. But
Keep
we
hurting
can
my
meet-
feelings. I don't know why.
Because you're doing such a good
That's,
job.
we're
Yeah.
maxed out. That's all people. But that we should be focusing that not just on business in general, but on retail, restaurant,
Yes.
entertainment.
Mhm.
And I know another thing that comes up quite often is just the want or the need for more minority-owned businesses as well in the downtown area.
I think if you step back and look at it more as an entrepreneurial ecosystem, that'll really what services and what things can we provide to them, education, financial support and mentoring, all, really putting that in and helping them where they are on the path. I think that's probably the biggest opportunity that we have, because some of our businesses have survived despite themselves. So we really got to help them help themselves and find out the right things. They have.
Anything else on goal 4?
Yeah, I just had one thing. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I think it would be interesting to add maybe some sort of like a mentorship piece to this for existing businesses, because there's just little quirky things about the businesses that do exist in downtown where like their hours may not be what the public wants them to be, or that's just feedback that I hear working at the cafe from people who frequent downtown. They come in on a Saturday afternoon and they're like, nothing's open. What is going on? And so just sort of figuring out what the demand is in terms of traffic and timing, and sort of do a mentorship program and training for our existing businesses to help them maximize their efforts.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say, when I read the description of the exercise, I didn't think these were in order. So when I was looking at them, the number one thing that I thought would be the first goal is this one.
Okay.
To grow and attract and retain businesses. I felt in my ranking should be the number one.
And you were correct. They were not in
Okay,
any
yeah.
particular, they were just presented as they
Yeah.
were presented previously. So. All right, goal number 5, strengthen social, economic, and environmental capital. And then within this, strengthening connections within the district, with walkability and the daily needs of residents, adding connections to the parks and river, which I know is somewhat underway, and then fixing the vacancies, and then strengthening partnerships with local college, universities, school districts to connect youth and young adults with the district events and opportunities at regular intervals throughout the year. So there's a lot here.
No revisions to it as it is. I would just add that we need to strengthen connections within the district and outside of the district. The fundraising committee can certainly speak to this. We have put on our pitch book and given the presentation to a lot of people that aren't necessarily involved in the DDA district, but there's a lot of support and excitement for what we're doing, and we need to make sure that we're tapping into those connections and kind of building some economic capital in that area.
And then one of the exercises to become a Main Street was to identify all of our vacancies in our unused space and the like. So having a comprehensive, Jay does a lot of work on this, but we want to keep it in mind as that when somebody comes to the downtown, and you say this to Jeff, what's available to me right now? I don't know if we can be very specific, but we're getting closer, but I think that has to be a part of our package. Instead of just saying fix the vacancies. Any other thoughts on that?
All right. Last one on our list. As you already mentioned, there are some redundancies with this and the previous goals, but connect neighborhoods and nodes to the district. The objectives being to maintain the sidewalk network, enhancing the pedestrian network with crosswalks, adding bicycle infrastructure leading to the district, enhancing transit opportunities, developing crime prevention through environmental design elements in the district and in connecting areas where needed, and to implement the recommended steps in the 2019 downtown parking study. So love to hear thoughts. Have the recommended action steps from the downtown parking study been kind of implemented, or where are we in that process?
We implemented about 50% of them. Some of them really aren't applicable anymore. I mean, our parking trends have changed dramatically since then. And our business population in the downtown has changed dramatically since then as well. So
an increase in demand, yeah.
And as we continue to see building revitalized with residencies in the second and third floor, that will obviously constrain parking even more. So identifying those opportunities.
Solution specific would be a parking deck.
Yep.
I have a dog who doesn't know it's not green space. So having like a dog park, would encourage people from surrounding neighborhoods to walk downtown, grab some ice cream, grab some coffee, or stop at a local bread, stop and get one bread.
That's important.
And to go along with that, it's something I've brought up a lot. Sorry, the educator in the room. There needs to be a playground or some kind of play structure for these families when they come downtown. I keep saying that there just needs to be something down here because there's nothing if you're coming down with little children.
That's cool. And then the schools, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Traffic calming.
Yeah, we do a lot to traffic calm, but that somehow they don't seem to listen. Let's see, close the street. And hey, I go back to Michael Orlando's enhancing transit. It's always been a goal of ours to somehow make it easy for our students at the university and the college to make their way downtown. It's walking distance, but it's almost impossible, when you look at it that way. So I want to keep that in front of mind, is to make it easy to get down here.
You mentioned scooters. Is that anywhere on any plans at all as an idea?
And we can keep it out there, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The birds, all those things.
Anything else on this one? All right, I appreciate the discussion. That was really productive and streamlined, very efficient. And if anyone has additional thoughts, you should have my business card, as well as my email in the packet. Feel free to email me, or like I said, bring this worksheet if you want to fill it out to the next meeting. If you have your worksheet filled out and want to share it, that's super helpful. So please drop that off to me if you're willing.
I got it.
And think about how these 6 goals relate to one another in terms of their priorities. And maybe what are the most important goals that you want front and center in the plan? So if it's the grow and attract businesses, if that's going to take center stage, or the placemaking, we can discuss that more at the May meeting, but keep that in the back of your mind.
So I'll acknowledge that I didn't complete the plan because I didn't read that far into our meeting packet. Is that something that we can all do and kind of put in a shared folder? We can all kind of review each other's input.
I'll send out a shared folder link this
Yeah,
afternoon.
I mean, I think that would be helpful if we could kind of review each other's responses, and maybe aside from meeting and come prepared for the next meeting.
I think it'd be great if everybody could just take a few minutes when they get the email and some time, prioritize them, add to them, throw some things in there that you may have thought of after you get done with this meeting, and even reiterate what you said at this meeting in case it just confirms their notes. That'd be great.
All right, thank you. That will be really helpful to us. So after the meeting adjourns, for those that can make it, we are planning on doing a walking tour of the downtown. And who's familiar with Jane Jacobs? Does that ring a bell to anyone? She is a really important figure and advocate in the planning world. She's she really have this approach. Those who are living in the area, that work in the area, that know the streets, they have a really valuable insight into the unique character of the area, and that streets are made for people. And so the best way to understand the built environment is to actually get out and walk, which is why we're doing this walking tour. So some of the things to think about as we go through the tour today. Jane and I will be taking notes and photos of different stops, but we want to hear from you on what makes downtown Adrian unique. What are these assets to capitalize on? We want to look at how much life is happening on the street. You know, it is a Wednesday morning, but think about other times when the space is programmed, when aren't streets being used or when are they least being used, and how can we maybe address that in this plan? Want to think about the ways that the buildings and the built environment can bring people together, the streetscape, what are opportunities for improvements? And then what are some locations that are maybe larger opportunity sites that you don't have in the works already today for us to focus on in this plan? So not just the next 5 years, but let's think big picture, 15 years down the road, 20 years down the road. And from your strategic plan in 2019, maybe consider that housing element as we do the tour. That was something that was repeatedly mentioned in that plan. So we'll break out and do that together after this meeting, and we'd really love to hear your insights on the tour.
Excellent.
And then as far as next steps for us in the plan, our next touch point is going to be May 8th at your next board meeting. We're going to be working with Jay and the administration on those public engagement events and fleshing out the details for that, who the different stakeholders are going to be for the roundtable exercises or roundtable discussions. We're going to be working to develop that DACC. And then we're going to start drafting some of the plan content. Some of it is required by the state statute, so that's really pretty direct, and we can get working on that, doing some of the base inventory, mapping the existing land use, et cetera. Do you have any questions for Jane and I at this time in the process?
Questions? Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you for all your time this morning.
All right, that takes us to public comment. Is there anybody that would like to make public comment at this time? This continues. It's a good sign. It's a good sign. Chair comments. I want to thank you all, your input today, and watch this board continue to develop. It was impressive. And I just heard everybody's name, who they are, and you start to see it. We got a great board here. We really do. And so excited to get our focus and get the strategic plan fine-tuned. Development plan is what they called it. So very good. Are there any other board member comments?
Yes, I'd just like us to remember that we still have a fairly large Spanish-speaking population, especially when it comes to like farmers market publications, if we can get that translated, because I know, especially with bringing that program, that's going to be very instrumental into bringing fresh produce into a lot of those homes, and they're not going to know about it if we don't have that translated into Spanish. So especially when it comes to that, but even when it comes to any events or, you know, anything that we are doing downtown, let's keep that in mind as well, please.
Love it. Yep. Any other comments from the board?
I
Yes.
just wanted to congratulate Jacob and Dusty for their awards at the Lenawee Community Foundation meeting last week. Good job. Represent.
Thank you. All right. Upcoming meetings, we have the May 1st Friday Welcome Wag. It's going to be a blast. And then our next meeting is May 8th. And again, I want to thank Ashley. I will tell you, you kickstarted our social media and you really got us up and running in much bigger ways. So we appreciate you very much. Thank you. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motions or support? Any further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those